Right. Welcome back. This is part 2 of chapter 3, School for Good and Evil, The Big Mistake. Agatha noticed immediately that they were all more attractive than any adult she had ever seen. Even the older faculty were elegant to the point of intimidation. Agatha had always tried to convince herself that beauty was pointless because it was temporary. Here was proof it lasted forever. The teachers tried to disguise their nudges and whisperings upon seeing the dripping wet, misplaced student, but Agatha was used to catching these things. Then she noticed one who wasn't like the rest, haloed against the stained-glass window with a shamrock green suit, silver hair, and hazel eyes. He beamed down at her as if she completely belonged. Agatha reddened. Anyone who thought she belonged here was a loon. Turning away, she took comfort in the glowering girls around her who clearly hadn't forgiven her for the incident in the hallway. "Where are the boys?" Agatha heard one ask another, as the girls filed in the front of three enormous floating nymphs with neon hair and lips, who handed out schedules and books and robes. As Agatha followed the line behind them, she had a better look at the majestic stair room. The wall opposite her had an enormous pink painted E with lovingly drawn angels and sylphs fluttering around its edges. The other three walls had painted letters too, spelling out the word Ever, E-V-E-R, in pink and blue. 4 spiral staircases were arranged symmetrically at the corners of each wall, lit by high stained glass windows. One of 2 blue flights had honor tattooed on its baluster, along with glass etchings of knights and kings, and the other read Valor, decorated with blue reliefs of hunters and archers. The 2 pink glass staircases had Purity and Charity emblazoned in gold, along with delicate friezes of sculpted maidens, princesses, and kindly animals. In the center of the room, alumni portraits blanketed a soaring crystal obelisk that reached from the milky marble floor to the domed sunroof. Higher up on the obelisks were gold-framed portraits of students who became princes and queens after graduation. In the middle were silver frames of those who found lesser fates as jaunty sidekicks, dutiful housewives, fairy godmothers, and near the bottom of the pillar, flecked with dust, were bronze-framed underachievers who had ended up as footmen and servants. But regardless of whether they had become a snow queen or a chimney sweep, Agatha saw the students shared the same beautiful faces, kind smiles, and soulful eyes. Here in this glass palace in the middle of the woods, the best of life had gathered in the service of good, and here she was, Miss Miserable, in the service of graveyards and farts. Agatha waited with bated breath until she finally reached a pink-haired nymph. "There's been a mix-up," she panted, dripping water and sweat. "It's my friend Sophie who's supposed to be here." The nymph smiled. "I tried to stop her from coming," said Agatha, voice quickening with hope, "but I confused the bird, and now I'm here and she's in the other tower. But she's pretty and likes pink, and well, look at me. I know you need students, but Sophie is my best friend, and if she stays, then I have to stay, and we can't stay. So please help me find her so we can go home." The nymph handed her a piece of parchment. And this is I can't do that anymore, it would seem. I was going to show you Agatha's schedule, but it's not letting me do that. I've had to switch to use my Kindle. So, Agatha of the Woods Beyond, good, first year, Purity Tower 5. Session Beautification with Professor Emma Anemone. Princess Etiquette, Pollux. Animal Communication, Professor Uma. History of Heroism, Professor August Satter. Lunch, Good Deeds, Professor Clarissa Dovey, Surviving Fairy Tales, Yubaba the Gnome, Forest Group 3. Agatha stood at it, stupefied, but a green-haired nymph thrust her a basket of books, some peeking out. The Privileges of Beauty, Winning Your Prince, a recipe book for good looks, Princess with a Purpose, Animal Speech, Barks, Neighs, and Chirps. Then a blue-haired nymph handed her a uniform, an appallingly short pink pinafore with sleeves poofed with carnations, worn over a white lace blouse that seemed to be missing 3 buttons. Stunned, Agatha looked at the future princesses around her, tightening their pink dresses. She looked at the books that told her beauty was a privilege, that she could win a chiseled prince, that she could talk to birds, that she looked at a schedule meant for someone beautiful, graceful, and kind. And then she looked up at the handsome teacher, still smiling at her, as if expecting the greatest of things from Agatha of Gabaldon. Agatha did the only thing she knew how to do when faced with expectations. Up the blue honor staircase through sea green halls she ran, fairies jangling furiously behind. Hurtling through halls, scrabbling upstairs, she had no time to take in what she was seeing. Floors made of jade, classrooms made of candy, a library made of gold, until she reached the last staircase and surged through a frosted glass door onto the tower roof. In front of her, the sun lit up like a breathtaking, open-air topiary of sculptured hedges. Before Agatha could even see what the sculptures were of, fairies smashed through the door, shooting sticky gold webs from their mouths. To catch her, she dove to elude them, crawling like a bug through the colossal hedges. Finding her feet, she sprinted and leapt onto the tallest sculpture of a muscular prince raising a sword high above a pond. She scaled the leafy sword to its prickling tip, kicking away swarming fairies, but soon there were too many. And just as they spat their glittering nets, Agatha lost her grip and crashed into the water. When she opened her eyes, she was completely dry. The pond must have been a portal, because now she was outside in a crystal blue archway. Agatha looked up and froze. She was at the end of a narrow stone bridge that stretched through thick fog into the rotted tower across the lake, a bridge between 2 schools. Tears stung her eyes. Sophie! She could say Sophie. Agatha! Agatha squinted and saw Sophie running out of the fog. Sophie! Arms outstretched, the girls dashed across the bridge, crying each other's names. They slammed into an invisible barrier and ricocheted to the ground. Dazed by pain, Agatha watched in horror as wolves dragged Sophie by her hair back to evil. You don't understand, Sophie screamed, watching fairies snare Agatha. It's all a mistake. There are no mistakes, a wolf growled. After all, they could speak, after all. The end.